Do you really want to know how much time you have left? It's a question most people wonder about, especially after hitting that 70-year milestone. Well, science has some fascinating answers. And they might surprise you. Two 70-year-olds who look identical on paper. Same gender, similar medical history, might have a whopping 15-year difference in how long they'll live. Birth certificate age only tells part of the story. What really matters is biological age, and scientists have discovered 7 fascinating signs that can predict longevity after 70. These 7 predictors aren't just random health tips, they're backed by serious research. They're factors that can actually be improved at any age. The Framingham Heart Study and the Baltimore Aging Study, massive research projects that have followed people for decades, found that these 7 signs tell us more about longevity than many traditional measurements like cholesterol or blood pressure. This video will explore each of these 7 powerful predictors, what they are, why they matter for longevity, and simple ways to improve these scores to potentially add years of healthy, independent living. Before jumping into the first predictor, I want you to support OutChannel by hitting the subscribe button and tell us what you would like us to cover in our next episode. Sign number 1. Walking speed, the 6th vital sign. The first predictor of longevity after 70 might seem surprisingly simple: how fast you walk. A landmark study published in the Journal of the American Medical Association in 2011 found something remarkable. Walking speed predicts survival better than chronological age. In fact, researchers now call walking speed the 6th vital sign, alongside traditional measurements like blood pressure and heart rate. This comprehensive study analyzed data from over 34,000 adults aged 65 and older and found that walking speed was more accurate at predicting life expectancy than age, gender, or even existing health conditions. But exactly how fast should someone walk for optimal longevity? The research shows specific thresholds that correlate with different survival outcomes. For adults over 70, a walking speed faster than 1 meter per second, or about 2.2 miles per hour, indicates above average life expectancy. Those who walk faster than 1.2 meters per second, 2.7 miles per hour, show excellent longevity potential. However, speeds below 0.8 meters per second, 1.8 miles per hour, are associated with shorter life expectancy and higher risk of health events. Why does walking speed predict longevity so accurately? Because walking is an integrated activity that requires the harmonious functioning of multiple body systems. For those looking to improve walking speed, research supports these 3 evidence-based strategies. First, incorporate progressive resistance training for the lower body twice weekly. Focus particularly on the hip extensors, quadriceps, and calf muscles. Even people in their 90s have shown 20–30% strength gains within 8 to 12 weeks of starting appropriate resistance training. Second, practice specific walking drills that focus on arm swing, posture, and step length. Taking slightly longer steps without overstriding and maintaining an upright posture with deliberate arm movement can immediately increase walking efficiency. Third, add interval walking to regular routines. This means alternating between comfortable pace and slightly faster walking for short periods. Start with just 30 seconds of faster walking, followed by 2 minutes of regular pace, gradually increasing the faster intervals as ability improves. Sign number 2, grip strength. Your hands reveal your health. The second powerful predictor of longevity after 70 is literally at your fingertips: grip strength. This might sound too simple to be meaningful, but the science behind it is remarkably robust. The prospective urban-rural epidemiology study, known as the PURE study, followed over 140,000 people across 17 countries for 4 years. What did researchers discover? Grip strength predicted mortality risk better than blood pressure. For every 5-kilogram decrease in grip strength, researchers observed a 16% increased risk of death from any cause. That's a stronger association than many medications have with survival. Why would the strength of your hands tell so much about your overall health and longevity? The answer lies in understanding that grip strength isn't just about your hands. It's a window into the quality of muscle tissue throughout your entire body. Muscle tissue doesn't decline uniformly as we age. Instead, it follows a pattern called dynapenia, where some muscle fibers atrophy while others remain relatively intact. This pattern happens similarly throughout the body, meaning the condition of hand muscles typically reflects the condition of muscles in your legs, core, and even heart. When grip strength declines significantly, it suggests widespread muscle deterioration that affects everything from mobility to organ function. Grip strength also reflects neurological health. A strong grip requires efficient nerve signaling, proper motor unit recruitment, and good sensory feedback, all indicators of a healthy nervous system. When these systems begin to falter, grip strength often declines before other, more obvious symptoms appear. Additionally, grip strength correlates with nutritional status, hormonal balance, and even systemic inflammation levels. This makes it an elegant, simple measurement that integrates multiple aspects of health into one easy-to-measure number. While medical settings use a device called a dynamometer for precise measurements, you can assess your grip strength at home using common household items. 1. Water bottle test. Fill a standard 16.9 oz water bottle completely. Hold it by the cap between your thumb and fingers, not resting on your palm. Extend your arms straight out in front at shoulder height. A healthy grip should be able to hold this position for at least 30 seconds without shaking. 2. Book test. Select a hardcover book weighing approximately 3 to 5 pounds. Hold it by pinching the spine between your thumb and fingers with your arm extended at shoulder height. Maintaining this position for 20 seconds indicates reasonable grip strength for adults over 70. 3. Handshake test. Have someone place a sheet of paper between your hands as you shake hands normally. If they can pull the paper out easily while you're gripping firmly, this suggests reduced grip strength. Why does grip strength typically decline with age? Several factors contribute. First, there's a natural loss of motor neurons, the nerve cells that control muscle movement. By age 70, up to 30% of motor units in the hands may be lost, compared to young adulthood. This neurological change means fewer muscle fibers receive activation signals. Second, age hormonal changes affect muscle maintenance. Decreases in growth hormone, testosterone in both men and women, and insulin-like growth factor reduce the body's ability to repair and maintain muscle tissue. Third, reduced physical activity and decreased protein intake, common in older adults, accelerate muscle loss. The hands, which perform less demanding work in modern life than in previous generations, often show this decline prominently. Fourth, increased inflammation and oxidative stress damage muscle cells and the nerves that control them. This systemic effect impacts grip strength significantly. Sign number 3. Ability to rise from a chair. The third powerful predictor of longevity after 70 is something most people do dozens of times daily without a second thought: standing up from a chair. This simple movement reveals so much about health that geriatricians worldwide use it as a standard assessment tool called the 5-repetition sit-to-stand test, or 5XSS. This test measures how quickly someone can stand up from a seated position and sit back down 5 times in a row. It might sound trivial, but research published in the Journal of Genetology shows that performance on this test predicts mortality risk with remarkable accuracy. In fact, a study following adults over 70 for 12 years found that those unable to complete 5 chair stands had nearly 3 times the mortality risk of those who could perform the test quickly. Why does this everyday movement predict longevity so powerfully? Because rising from a chair is what scientists call a complex functional task that integrates multiple body systems. First, it requires adequate lower body strength, particularly in the quadriceps, hamstrings, and gluteal muscles, the same muscles essential for walking, climbing stairs, and maintaining independence. Second, it demands good balance and coordination as your body's center of gravity shifts forward and upward during the transition from sitting to standing. Third, it tests proprioception, your body's awareness of its position in space, which naturally declines with age, but is crucial for preventing falls. Fourth, it challenges cardiovascular capacity, as the movement requires a quick adjustment in blood pressure and heart rate to maintain proper blood flow to the brain during the positional change. Finally, it assesses cognitive processing speed through the brain's ability to coordinate this complex movement pattern efficiently. To perform the 5-repetition sit-to-stand test properly at home. 1. Use a straight-backed chair without armrests, approximately 17 inches, 43 cms, high, standard dining chair height. 2. Sit in the middle of the chair with feet flat on the floor, shoulder meet apart. 3. Cross arms over the chest, not using hands for support. 4. Stand fully upright and sit back down 5 times as quickly as safely possible. 5. Time from the initial seated position until seated again after the 5th stand. This test doesn't just predict longevity, it forecasts real-life outcomes. A study in the Archives of Physical Medicine and Rehabilitation found that adults over 70 who took more than 15 seconds to complete the test had double the hospital admission rate over the following 2 years. Even more telling, when hospitalized, those with slower chair stand times had longer hospital stays and were more likely to be discharged to nursing facilities rather than returning home. The test also predicts recovery trajectories. After surgery or illness, patients with better pre-ement chair stand performance typically recover functional independence 40% faster than those with poor performance. For those looking to improve their chair stand ability, research supports these 3 progressive exercises. 1. Seated marching. While sitting with good posture, lift alternate knees toward the ceiling for 30 seconds. This builds the hip flexor strength needed for the initial phase of standing. For those with very limited strength, start with 5 to 10 repetitions per leg and gradually increase. 2. Sit to stand with controlled lowering. Use hands if needed to stand up, but then cross arms and lower yourself to sitting as slowly as possible, taking 3-5 seconds for the descent. This eccentric muscle contraction builds strength efficiently, even when full standing without assistance isn't yet possible. 3. Wall slides. Stand with your back against a wall, feet shoulder-width apart and about 12 inches from the wall. Slide down until knees are bent about 45 degrees, not a full squat. Hold for 5-10 seconds, then slide back up. This builds the quadriceps strength crucial for chair rising while providing back support for safety. The remarkable aspect of this predictor is how quickly it responds to targeted exercise. Studies show that adults in their 80s can improve chair stand performance by 20–30% within just 6–8 weeks of consistent practice, potentially shifting their mortality risk category significantly. Sign number 4. Lung capacity. The breath of life. The 4th powerful predictor of longevity after 70 is how efficiently your lungs move air, your lung capacity. The Cardiovascular Health Study, which followed over 5,000 older adults for more than a decade, found something remarkable. Lung function, specifically a measurement called FEV1, forced expiratory volume in 1 second, independently predicted mortality risk, regardless of smoking history, existing lung disease, or other health conditions. In fact, this study revealed that older adults with the highest lung function measurements had half the mortality risk of those with the lowest measurements, even after accounting for age, gender, and other health factors. This makes lung capacity one of the strongest biological markers of aging and longevity. Lung function naturally declines with age. That's normal. After age 35, most people lose about 1.5% of their lung capacity annually. By 70, the average person has lost 30–40% of the lung function they had at 30. However, the rate of this decline varies dramatically between individuals and directly impacts longevity. Some adults maintain nearly 80% of their youthful lung capacity into their 70s, while others drop below 50%. This difference significantly affects how much oxygen reaches vital organs, including the brain and heart, which directly influences cellular aging throughout the body. While precise measurement requires medical equipment, you can assess your relative lung function at home with these simple tests. 1. The birthday candle test. Place a birthday candle at arm's length away, about 8 inches from your mouth. Take a deep breath and try to blow it out with a single, steady exhale. Most healthy adults over 70 should be able to extinguish the flame easily. Difficulty with this task suggests reduced lung capacity. 2. The counting test. Take a deep breath and count out loud at a normal speaking pace on that single breath. Healthy adults over 70 typically reach at least 20–25 before needing another breath. Counting fewer than 15 numbers suggests reduced lung function. 3. The breath hold test. After a normal exhale, time how long you can comfortably hold your breath. Most healthy older adults can hold for at least 20 seconds. Less than 15 seconds may indicate reduced lung capacity. Why does lung capacity so strongly predict longevity? The answer lies in oxygen delivery. Every cell in your body requires oxygen to produce energy efficiently. When lung function declines, less oxygen reaches your tissues, forcing cells to rely more on less efficient energy production methods. This creates more waste products, increases inflammation, and accelerates cellular aging. Additionally, reduced lung capacity means the heart must work harder to distribute available oxygen, placing extra strain on the cardiovascular system. This creates a cascade effect where multiple body systems experience increased stress and accelerated aging. The good news is that lung function responds remarkably well to specific breathing exercises, even in advanced age. Research published in the journals of gerontology demonstrated that adults in their 70s and 80s improved their FEV1 by 10–18% after just 6 weeks of respiratory training. These improvements correlated with enhanced walking endurance, cognitive performance, and quality of life. Here are 3 evidence-based breathing exercises that improve respiratory function in older adults. 1. Diaphragmatic breathing. Sit comfortably or lie on your back. Place one hand on your chest and the other on your abdomen. Breathe in slowly through your nose, feeling your abdomen rise while your chest remains relatively still. Exhale slowly through pursed lips, as if blowing through a straw, feeling your abdomen fall. Practice for 5 minutes twice daily. 2. Pursed lip breathing. Inhale slowly through your nose for a count of 2. Purse your lips as if whistling or blowing out a candle. Then exhale slowly for a count of 4 through pursed lips. This creates back pressure in the airways that helps keep them open longer. Practice 10 repetitions, 3–4 times daily. 3. Inspiratory muscle training. This involves breathing against resistance to strengthen respiratory muscles. While medical devices exist for this purpose, you can create a simple version by placing your hands on opposite sides of your lower rib cage and breathing in while creating gentle resistance with your hands. Aim for 30 breaths with resistance twice daily. Consistent practice of these exercises has been shown to improve not just lung function measurements, but also exercise tolerance, sleep quality, and cognitive performance, all factors that contribute to longevity after 70. Sign number 5. Social connections, relationships that extend life. The fifth powerful predictor of longevity after 70 might surprise you. It's not a physical measurement or a medical test. It's the strength and quality of your social connections. The Harvard Study of Adult Development, the longest-running study on happiness and health ever conducted, followed participants for over 80 years and reached a remarkable conclusion. The quality of our relationships predicts longevity better than genetics, wealth, IQ, or even cholesterol levels. Dr. Robert Waldinger, the study's current director, summarized decades of research with this striking statement: "Loneliness kills. It's as powerful as smoking or alcoholism." The numbers back this up. Research published in PLOS Medicine found that social isolation increases mortality risk by 29%, comparable to smoking 15 cigarettes daily, and exceeding the risk posed by obesity or physical inactivity. Even more telling, a meta-analysis in the journal Social Science in Medicine examined 148 studies involving over 300 participants, and found that people with stronger social relationships had a 50% increased likelihood of survival compared to those with weaker social connections. This effect remained consistent across age, gender, initial health status, and cause of death. How exactly do social connections influence physical health and longevity? The answer lies in several biological pathways. First, social connections directly affect neuroendocrine function. Positive social interactions trigger the release of oxytocin, which reduces cortisol, the stress hormone, and decreases inflammation throughout the body. Chronic inflammation is a key driver of age diseases, so this represents a direct biological pathway from social connection to cellular health. Second, strong social ties improve immune function. Studies measuring immune markers show that socially connected older adults have more robust natural killer cell activity and better vaccine responses than isolated individuals. Third, social relationships influence health behaviors. People with strong social networks are more likely to stay physically active, maintain better nutrition, adhere to medication schedules, and seek medical care when needed. Fourth, meaningful connections provide psychological resilience that buffers against stress. This reduces allostatic load, the cumulative wear and tear on the body caused by chronic stress, which directly impacts cellular aging and disease progression. Importantly, not all social connections provide equal benefits. Research distinguishes between different types of social relationships and their impact on longevity. Deep friendships with emotional intimacy and mutual support show the strongest correlation with longevity. Family relationships provide significant benefits when positive, but can increase stress when conflicted. Community involvement through volunteering or group membership offers substantial benefits, even without deep personal connections. Casual social interactions with neighbors or service providers still contribute meaningfully to well-being. The quality of relationships matters more than quantity. Having just one or two close, supportive relationships provides more longevity benefits than numerous superficial connections. However, having diverse types of relationships, close friends, family, and community connections, creates the strongest protective effect. For those looking to strengthen social connections after 70, research supports these practical approaches. 1. Scheduled connection. Set regular times for social interaction, whether weekly coffee with a friend or monthly family gatherings. Consistency builds relationship depth more effectively than occasional intensive contact. 2. Skills-based groups. Join classes or groups focused on learning or practicing skills, from painting to language study to gardening. Shared activities create natural conversation and connection without social pressure. 3. Intergenerational opportunities. Volunteer with youth organizations or participate in mentoring programs. These relationships benefit both parties and provide unique satisfaction. 4. Digital connection. For those with mobility limitations, technology offers valuable connection opportunities. Research shows that video calls provide nearly the same neurological benefits as in-person interaction, especially when they become regular habits. 5. Helping others. Providing support to others creates stronger social bonds than receiving support. Even small acts of assistance strengthen relationship quality and provide purpose. 6. Cognitive processing speed. How quick thinking extends life. The sixth powerful predictor of longevity after 70 is how quickly your brain processes information. Your cognitive processing speed. The Seattle Longitudinal Study, which has tracked cognitive abilities and longevity for over 6 decades, made a remarkable discovery. Of all cognitive functions, processing speed emerged as the strongest predictor of mortality. Adults with faster processing speed lived significantly longer than those with slower processing, even after accounting for education, existing health conditions, and other cognitive abilities. This finding has been replicated in multiple studies, including research from the Einstein Aging Study showing that each standard deviation decrease in processing speed increased mortality risk by 35% over a 7-year period. That's a stronger predictor than memory performance or verbal abilities, which many people worry about more. Why does processing speed so strongly predict longevity? The answer lies in the brain's white matter, the communication highways that connect different brain regions. Processing speed reflects the integrity and efficiency of these neural pathways. When information travels quickly between brain regions, it indicates healthy myelin, the insulating material around nerve fibers, adequate blood flow to brain tissue, and efficient neural network. Processing speed also serves as a sensitive early indicator of subtle changes in brain health before more obvious cognitive symptoms appear. It can reveal small vascular changes, early protein accumulation, or metabolic inefficiencies that affect the brain's overall function and, ultimately, longevity. The concept of cognitive reserve helps explain why some people maintain better processing speed into advanced age. Cognitive reserve refers to the brain's resilience, its ability to maintain function despite physical changes or damage. People with higher cognitive reserve can sustain more physical brain changes before showing functional decline. This reserve develops throughout life through education, complex occupational demands, bilingualism, musical training, and continued intellectual engagement. The more diverse and challenging your cognitive activities throughout life, the greater your reserve, and the better your processing speed tends to be maintained with age. The good news is that processing speed responds remarkably well to targeted training, even in advanced age. Unlike some cognitive functions that are more resistant to improvement, processing speed can be enhanced through specific activities. 1. Dual task training. Performing 2 tasks simultaneously challenges the brain to process information more efficiently. Try counting backward by 3s while walking, or naming animals while tapping a rhythm with your hand. Start with simple combinations and gradually increase difficulty. 2. Timed activities. Practicing familiar activities with a time component introduces adaptive pressure that enhances neural efficiency. This could be timed word games, speed reading exercises, or rapid arithmetic calculations. The key is to work just at the edge of your comfort zone, gradually increasing speed while maintaining accuracy. 3. Physical cognitive combinations. Activities that combine physical movement with quick decision-making are particularly effective. Dance classes, table tennis, or even interactive video games that require physical movement have shown significant benefits for processing speed in adults over 70. 4. Progressive attention training. Apps and programs specifically designed to improve attention and processing speed have demonstrated effectiveness in research settings. Look for those that adapt to your performance level and gradually increase in difficulty, such as BrainHQ's double decision exercise, which was used in the ACTIVE study showing long-term cognitive benefits. 5. Novel learning experiences. Learning new skills that require quick thinking creates new neural pathways that enhance processing efficiency. Taking up a musical instrument, learning a new language, or mastering a fast-pacing game like bridge all challenge the brain to process information more quickly. Research from the Advanced Cognitive Training for Independent and Vital Elderly (ACTIVE) study found that adults who received just 10 hours of processing speed training showed benefits that persisted for up to 10 years. Participants not only improved their cognitive test scores, but also maintained better everyday functional abilities like driving safety and medication management skills, directly linked to maintaining independence and longevity. 7. Sense of purpose. The reason to wake up tomorrow. The seventh and final predictor of longevity after 70 might seem surprisingly philosophical: having a sense of purpose in life. Far from being just a feel-good concept, purpose has been scientifically validated as a powerful predictor of how long you'll live. The Midas Midlife in the United States study, a landmark national research project, found that adults with a strong sense of purpose had a 15% lower risk of death from all causes compared to those with a weaker sense of purpose. This effect remained significant even after controlling for age, gender, education, wealth, health conditions, depression, and health behaviors. In other words, purpose extends life independently of other well-established factors. Even more impressive, a meta-analysis published in Psychosomatic Medicine examined 10 studies with over 136,000 participants and found that having higher purpose in life was associated with a 17% reduced risk of cardiovascular events and a 19% reduced risk of death from any cause. How exactly does having purpose, an intangible psychological factor, influence physical health and longevity? The answer lies in several biological pathways that scientists have only recently begun to understand. First, purpose reduces systemic inflammation. Studies measuring inflammatory markers like interleukin-6 and C-reactive protein find that people with higher purpose scores show significantly lower levels of these inflammation indicators. Since chronic inflammation drives many age diseases, this represents a direct biological pathway from purpose to longevity. Second, purpose regulates stress hormones. People with stronger purpose show more moderate cortisol patterns. They produce enough cortisol for alertness and energy, but avoid the harmful spikes and disrupted rhythms associated with chronic stress and accelerate. Third, and perhaps most fascinating, purpose influences gene expression. Research in the field of psychoneuroimmunology has found that people with higher purpose show different patterns of gene activity, particularly in genes that regulate inflammation and immune function. These changes in gene expression create what scientists call a conserved transcriptional response to adversity that enhances cellular resilience. In scientific research, purpose isn't measured through vague questions, but through validated instruments like the Purpose in Life test or the Psychological Well-Being Scales. These assessments evaluate specific aspects of purpose, such as having goals that give life meaning, feeling that daily activities are worthwhile, believing that life has direction, experiencing a sense of accomplishment, feeling that past and present life have significance. Scores on these assessments correlate directly with mortality risk, with each standard deviation increase in purpose score associated with a 12–17% decrease in mortality risk over follow-up periods ranging from 5 to 14 years. Purpose serves as a particularly powerful buffer against cognitive decline. The Rush Memory and Aging Project found that participants with high purpose scores were 2.4 times less likely to develop Alzheimer's disease and experienced 30% slower rates of cognitive decline compared to those with low purpose, even when controlled for education and initial cognitive ability. Similarly, purpose protects against physical disability. A study in JAMA Psychiatry found that older adults with stronger purpose experienced 43% less disability and 63% lower risk of frailty over a 7-year period. This protective effect was particularly pronounced during periods of health challenges, suggesting that purpose provides resilience during difficult times. What constitutes purposeful activity varies widely between individuals, but research identifies several categories that consistently provide meaningful purpose across different ability levels. 1. Generativity activities that contribute to future generations, such as mentoring, teaching, or creating legacy projects. 2. Creative expression through arts, writing, music, or crafts that allow personal expression and growth. 3. Community contribution through volunteering, civic engagement, or neighborhood involvement. 4. Continued learning that expands knowledge and skills in areas of personal interest. 5. Relationship cultivation that deepens connections with family, friends, or community members. For those who have lost previous sources of purpose through retirement, health changes, or loss of loved ones, developing new purpose can seem challenging. Research supports this simple framework for rediscovering purpose. First, identify your values. What matters most to you at this stage of life? Is it connection, creativity, contribution, learning, or something else entirely? Second, assess your strengths and abilities. What can you realistically do given your current health, resources, and circumstances? Third, explore opportunities that align your values with your abilities. Start small, with manageable activities that can grow over time. Fourth, establish regular engagement. Purpose comes from consistent involvement rather than occasional participation. Finally, connect with others who share similar interests or values, as social reinforcement strengthens purpose commitment. The research is clear. Purpose isn't just about feeling good. It's a powerful predictor and promoter of longevity after 70 that works through measurable biological pathways to extend both lifespan and health span. Your longevity blueprint after 70. These 7 signs: walking speed, grip strength, chair rising ability, lung capacity, social connections, processing speed, and sense of purpose work together to create a comprehensive picture of successful aging. They aren't isolated factors, but an interconnected system that reveals your true biological age and longevity potential. What makes these predictors so powerful is their synergistic relationship. Improving any one factor creates positive ripple effects throughout the entire system. When you increase your walking speed, you simultaneously enhance lung capacity. Strengthening your grip improves your ability to rise from a chair. Building social connections often increases your sense of purpose, which in turn motivates physical activity. This interconnectedness means that even small improvements can generate substantial benefits. The science is clear. Chronological age is just a number. Your biological age, as measured by these 7 predictors, is far more important for determining how many healthy years you have ahead. And unlike your birth date, biological age can be changed. To help you begin, here's a simple weekly action plan that addresses all 7 predictors. Monday. Focus on walking. Add just 5 minutes of walking at a slightly faster pace than comfortable. Over time, gradually increase both duration and speed. Tuesday. Build grip and upper body strength. Squeeze a soft ball for 30 seconds, 3 times with each hand. Then, practice standing up from a chair without using your hands, even if you can only do it once or twice. Wednesday. Improve lung capacity with 5 minutes of diaphragmatic breathing in the morning and pursed lip breathing in the evening. Thursday. Nurture social connections. Call 1 person, send 2 messages, or schedule 1 social activity for the coming week. Friday. Challenge your processing speed. Spend 10 minutes on a timed activity like solving simple math problems, naming items in a category, or playing a quick reaction game. Saturday. Revisit walking and chair rises, adding slightly more challenge than Monday. Sunday. Reflect on purpose. Spend 15 minutes writing about or discussing what gives your life meaning and 1 small action you can take this week to express that purpose. This plan requires less than 20 minutes daily, but addresses all 7 longevity predictors. The key is consistency rather than intensity. The benefits begin immediately. You don't have to wait years to see results. Within just 2-3 weeks of beginning this action plan, most people report better sleep, improved mood, and increased energy. Within 6-8 weeks, measurable improvements in physical and cognitive function typically emerge. By 12 weeks, these changes often translate into enhanced independence and quality of life. It's time to redefine our expectations of aging. The latest science shows that decline isn't inevitable, it's largely optional. Your body and brain retain remarkable adaptability throughout life. With the right inputs, you can continue to thrive well into your 80s and beyond. We'd love to hear from you. Which of these 7 predictors surprised you the most, and which one will you focus on improving first? Share your thoughts in the comments below. In our upcoming videos, we'll explore how nutrition, sleep, and stress management influence these 7 factors, providing you with a complete blueprint for extending not just your lifespan, but your health span, the years of life spent in good health.